Our episode kicks off with a flashback of Nakatomi feeling super embarrassed about introducing himself to the class. Next, we spot Shizuru on the train, continuing her journey. Ryumi's freaking out because they're on a bridge surrounded by water, and she's shocked at how different the world looks outside of Agano. Meanwhile, Akira's being her usual self, teasing Ryumi, who just wants to chill and enjoy the moment. Ryumi decides to tickle Akira, who bolts because she's not into that. Classic Akira move. Nadeko texts her mom, reassuring her that she's on a trip with the girls and they'll be fine. Ryumi asks when they'll reach Ikebukuro, thinking it'll be the next day, but Akira's like, not even the Black Leopard caravan can get us there in just one day. Ryumi's confused because it used to only take an hour, even though everything's stretched out now. She's not buying that it could be that bad. Akira calls Ryumi overly optimistic, suggesting they might end up lost or wiped out by nature if they're not careful. Ryumi fires back, saying sometimes you discover things right after you leave, and if not tomorrow, maybe in 3 days. Akira's like, nah, it'll be more like a month or longer. Then they wonder how long it'll take for Shizuru to catch up. Shizuru snaps at them to chill because losing focus is dangerous. Nadeko wonders if they're going too fast and suggests slowing down. Shizuru tries but can't seem to. Cue the girls getting increasingly nervous as they speed around curves. After a terrifying moment, they all breathe a sigh of relief, thinking they were goners. Nadeko asks if they'll be okay. Shizuru's like, maybe. It seemed easier when Zenjiro taught her. She explains how Zenjiro could turn back to normal for 5 minutes a day, which is when she learned to drive the train. The girls don't buy it, but Shizuru swears it's true. Ryumi asks if they're even heading to Ikebukuro in the right direction. Shizuru points out Chichibu, which means Ikebukuro is that way. Ryumi starts listing off all the shady characters in Ikebukuro, warning Akira to watch her back. Akira thinks Ryumi's view is twisted. Ryumi tells Akira to watch out for getting hustled too. Akira won't reveal her finances, shutting down Ryumi's money inquiries. Ryumi gets mad, calling her a cheapskate. Shizuru offers to lend some cash, making Ryumi eager to know how much she has. Turns out it's just over 3,000 yen. Ryumi's psyched about the 1,000 yen note and her 250 yen. She wonders what she can buy with that. Nadeko asks what she's going to buy with that. Ryumi wants that thing called bubble tea, SHR shirulai, and some French toast, but Nadeko was thinking of something more normal like sandwiches or cookies. Ryumi finds it boring and tells Nadeko to aim higher. Nadeko says it's because they didn't bring anything. They came straight from school, so they had nothing to eat. Shizuru says she brought some food, getting Ryumi excited. Shizuru says she knows a bit about cooking, and Akira asks if she can see. Shizuru says sure. Akira opens the backpack and finds something she doesn't recognize. Nadeko says it's a pasta measurer. Akira asks where the pasta is. Nadeko found a Niriali shirt of Su-chan's and asks why Shizuru had that. Shizuru says she found it at home. Ryumi asks if she can have it, and Shizuru says she doesn't mind. Just as Akira and Ryumi are about to start fighting, Nadeko asks them to chill. Nadeko shows that they only have bonito broth, dashi base, rice, soy, and noodles. In other words, not much. Shizuru was sure she had brought more than that, including bitter melons, which were a delicacy from Agano, but Shizuru didn't like them much. Then Shizuru realizes she might have gone overboard or got a bit confused. Akira says it's normal, calling it tunnel vision. Ryumi thought it couldn't get worse. For Nadeko, a list could have helped, so that's all they've got on the floor. The biggest problem was that they didn't have any underwear, and they didn't know how long they'd be in Ikebukuro. They say Isabel of Castile swore to pray for victory and didn't change her underwear for 9 months. Shizuru thinks if she didn't change hers, she'd meet Yoka. Nadeko asks Shizuru to stop daydreaming. Akira says they could stop to buy some underwear, and Nadeko thinks they also need to stock up on food. Ryumi's hungry and decides to grab something to eat, but Akira tells her not to even think about it because the hungry chubby ones are the first to die in horror movies. Ryumi yells that she's not chubby. Nadeko tells Ryumi to hold on just a bit longer, just for now. The journey continues and they pass through a region with a lot of fog. Ryumi asks if they've arrived in Ikebukuro. Akira asks if she's going to keep asking that, but Ryumi's just curious. Akira asks if she's stupid or something. Ryumi finds Akira's superior attitude annoying, calling her a crybaby. Akira says she was a crybaby until 10 years ago, calling Ryumi a dumb troublemaker. Ryumi says she only got a 0 once, but Nadeko says they both did. Akira tells Ryumi if she hates her that much, she should have stayed in Agano, but Ryumi says she never said she hated Akira. Nadeko asks them to stop. Akira says she actually only came because Ryumi and Nadeko did. Nadeko says they went on impulse, and Shizuru tells the three of them they didn't have to come along with her since she intended to go alone from the beginning. Suddenly, the bitter melon wraps around Ryumi's foot. Nadeko finds it very strange because the bitter melon was growing very fast and the fog was also weird. They couldn't see anything outside because of the fog. Ryumi sees something coming and Akira says it's Kamasi, a plesiosaur rumored to live in the Koma River for a while. The girls watch something approaching and stand still, and then they see it's a man on a swan pedal boat in the water. The man asks who they are. Akira tells them to be careful because he could be a killer and kill them. The man ironically says he's the most dangerous killer in the Koma River, and it's a real shame to say that, and they ask who he is. The man replies that his name doesn't matter, but he had traveled through the Koma River making various notes and research, hadn't seen anyone for years, and then he was startled when he saw them, and he asks what they're doing there. Shizuru replies that they're trying to get to Ikebukuro. The man is from Ikebukuro, and Shizuru gets off the train. Ryumi bombards him with questions he has no idea how to answer, but before they leave, he says there's something he can tell them. After the incident of 7G, the whole world vanished except everything along the Ikebukuro line. Shizuru is shocked to hear that. The man says things that Shizuru doesn't understand. He goes on about something like eastern fungus rising over the outskirts, declaring it'll conquer everything. And further east, those in harmony with the goats, unfaithful to their name, brutally attack the boars. They don't get what he's talking about. They decide to leave, but the man says if he were them, he wouldn't go to Ikebukuro because it's terrible, ridiculously bad over there. And before she gets on, he says he'll give her something and hands a map to Shizuru, who thanks him. He gives them another piece of advice not to believe everything they hear unless it's coming from him. Nadeko finds something of Shizuru's father in the backpack and asks Shizuru to give it to the man because they don't need it. The man gets all excited. It's a heated tobacco device, or at least a cartridge, and he's very grateful. They continue the journey thinking he's a very strange old man. It was the first time Shizuru saw someone weirder than Zenjiro. Zenjiro couldn't leave Agano because he gets terrible headaches and dizziness when he tries. It's all because of some crazy surgery blah blah blah. The girls wonder if he actually has another problem, some psychological issue, but Shizuru finds it strange because he has a scar on his forehead. Nadeko asks what she came to Ikebukuro for, and Shizuru asks if she has to be so direct, but they know it's because of Yoka. It all started because of the photo in the newspaper. Akira wonders how Shizuru will find Yoka. Nadeko tells Shizuru that if she had left without saying anything to the girls, she would have made them very sad, just like when Yoka left without talking to Shizuru and made her sad too. Nadeko takes the opportunity to apologize for suggesting they shouldn't have come with her. After all, Yoka is also friends with the girls. Shizuru apologizes. Now that everything was settled, Ryumi tells them to go back to Agano, and Akira asks if she's stupid. Ryumi explains that they need to prepare properly. They need to get clothes, food, blankets, and camping gear, and the girls don't disagree, but Shizuru thinks it's a waste to go back now. But the girls were worried about the lack of supplies. Akira says she never agreed with the trip, and then one of them says they'll leave her in Agano when they get there, but Akira says she doesn't want to be alone. Then Yoka's grandmother puts a hat on Zenjiro, and he apologizes to Koyuki for making her do that. The girls stop the train while chatting a bit. For Nadeko, they need to write letters of absence. Shizuru says she'll start the machine, but the water level rises and they don't understand why. Shizuru grabs the map from that crazy old man, but there's nothing special about it. Then suddenly they hear a noise. Akira realizes it's Morse code, and Shizuru forgot to mention the favor she asked Grandma Koyuki about Zenjiro. And Zenjiro was mad because they agreed to talk every day at 5 p.m. and he starts banging on the rail. The noise she heard was made by him. Shizuru tries to decipher it, but Akira steps in and helps. Zenjiro gets Akira's message about the water level, and then he knows she's on the Koma River. And then he says the flood is dangerous for the engine, asking her to flee to higher ground. Shizuru doesn't know which way to go, but unfortunately, just as he was about to give the answer, time ran out. Until suddenly, the water level starts to drop because a massive wave was coming that would end their journey. But Shizuru quickly, they get inside the train with the other girls and manage to escape the giant wave. After the ordeal, the girls stop the train. Unfortunately, they couldn't go back. Now they had to move forward. Shizuru asks the girls if they are really going to Ikebukuro, and for the girls, it was the only option now, so Shizuru says they will find Yoka, and they continue the journey, passing through various locations. They would go that way, with little food, no clothes, as the tracks were damaged, until they reach Higashi Agano. They encounter some people there who welcome them. They say they don't get many visitors there. A girl with a mushroom on her head tells them to make themselves at home and rest there.